The Curious Contraption, A Tale of Eccentric Ingenuity. In a small cottage at the edge of a quaint village lived a scientist named Professor Percival Quirk. Unlike any other scientist, Professor Quirk was known for his eccentricities and unorthodox methods. His laboratory was a chaotic collection of bubbling potions, whirring gadgets, and mismatched contraptions that baffled the villagers. One sunny morning, Professor Quirk burst into the local cafe, his wild hair standing on end and his eyes gleaming with excitement. He waved a blueprint in the air, his voice an octave higher than usual. "Dear villagers," he announced, "I have devised a contraption of unparalleled innovation and audacity. Behold, the Quirkomatic Quantum Enhancer." The villagers exchanged puzzled glances, their curiosity piqued by the professor's latest creation. Professor Quirk proceeded to explain that the Quirkomatic Quantum Enhancer could modify everyday objects, imbuing them with remarkable abilities. With this device, he claimed, one could transform a simple spoon into a singing utensil or an umbrella into a weather-controlling wand. Skepticism rippled through the crowd, but Professor Quirk's enthusiasm was infectious. The villagers, though bemused, agreed to witness a demonstration. They gathered around as he aimed the contraption at a humble garden gnome. With a press of a button, the gnome sprang to life, dancing a lively jig to an invisible tune. The village erupted in applause, their doubts momentarily forgotten. Even the most skeptical of villagers couldn't help but crack a smile. Professor Quirk had once again managed to infuse the mundane with a touch of magic. As weeks turned into months, the village began to embrace the Quirkomatic Quantum Enhancer's peculiar creations. Talking teapots, self-playing instruments, and even levitating broomsticks became part of daily life. The village had transformed into a hub of whimsy, where the ordinary and the extraordinary coexisted in a delightful dance. However, there was one villager who remained unconvinced, a young girl named Eliza. She watched the spectacle with a thoughtful frown, her analytical mind skeptical of the contraption's claims. Eliza had a reputation for being level-headed and grounded, traits that often set her apart from the rest. One day, as Professor Quirk displayed a pair of shoes that could moonwalk on their own, Eliza approached him with a determined expression. "Professor," she began, her voice steady, "how can we be sure that these inventions are truly enhancing our lives? They seem like nothing more than entertaining novelties." Professor Quirk chuckled, his eyes twinkling. "Ah, my dear Eliza, you have a keen mind. But do you not see? These creations bring joy, wonder, and laughter to our lives. Isn't that enhancement in its purest form?" Eliza pondered his words, her skepticism warring with her curiosity. She had always admired Professor Quirk's inventive spirit, but she couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to the Quirkomatic Quantum Enhancer than met the eye. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Eliza snuck into Professor Quirk's laboratory. She examined the blueprint for the contraption, her analytical mind dissecting its intricate mechanisms. And then, her eyes widened as she discovered a hidden compartment that contained a tiny, glowing crystal. Her heart racing, Eliza realized that the crystal was the key to the contraption's mesmerizing effects. But what was its purpose? With a mixture of apprehension and curiosity, she delicately removed the crystal and inserted it into a simple pocket watch. As the crystal settled into place, the pocket watch began to emit a soft, radiant glow. Eliza held it in her hand, watching in awe as the glow intensified and surrounded her in a cocoon of light. And then, with a jolt, she found herself transported to a place that defied description. Eliza stood on a surreal landscape of swirling colors and abstract shapes. She felt as though she had stepped into a canvas painted by a mad artist. And then, she noticed figures moving in the distance, villagers from her own village, each encased in a shimmering bubble of their own desires and whims. As Eliza approached, she realized that the villagers were lost in their own fantasies, oblivious to the world around them. A man was riding a flying bicycle, a woman was dancing with an invisible partner, and children were playing tag with animated shadows. The village had become a carnival of personal fancies, a whimsical world that existed solely within the confines of their desires. With a sense of urgency, Eliza tried to rouse the villagers from their reverie. But her words fell on deaf ears, their attention fixated on their individual fantasies. And then, as if guided by an invisible force, Eliza reached out and touched one of the shimmering bubbles. The bubble shattered like fragile glass, and the villager inside blinked in surprise. Slowly, they looked around, their eyes adjusting to the reality beyond their fantasies. Confusion and realization mingled on their faces as they gazed at Eliza. "Eliza," the villager asked, their voice uncertain. "What happened?" Eliza took a deep breath, her heart pounding with the weight of her discovery. "We've been ensnared by the very contraption meant to enhance our lives," she explained, her words a mixture of urgency and determination. "The crystal inside it creates a world of personal fantasies, keeping us trapped in a cycle of individual desires." The villagers exchanged worried glances, their sense of wonder giving way to a sense of unease. Eliza knew that they had to find a way to reverse the effects and free themselves from the contraption's grip. Together, they worked tirelessly to devise a plan. With the knowledge that the crystal was the source of their entrapment, they determined that they needed to create a counterforce, a crystal that would restore their connection to reality and break the hold of their individual fantasies. Using their collective ingenuity, the villagers constructed a crystal of their own, one that resonated with the essence of shared experiences, empathy, and genuine connections. They placed it within the Quirkomatic quantum enhancer, hoping that its positive influence would counteract the illusory world created by the original crystal. As the crystal settled into place, a ripple of energy spread through the village. The shimmering bubbles that had confined their desires began to dissipate, replaced by a sense of clarity and presence. The villagers blinked in astonishment, their eyes focusing on the world around them. And then, with a chorus of relieved laughter and heartfelt gratitude, they embraced one another. The sense of connection they had temporarily lost was now stronger than ever, fortified by their shared journey to reclaim their reality. When Professor Quirk arrived at his laboratory the next morning, he found a note from Eliza explaining the truth about the contraption and its unintended consequences. The professor was initially crestfallen, his intentions having been pure, but he soon realized the wisdom in Eliza's insights. With humility and determination, Professor Quirk set out to reverse the effects of the Quirkomatic quantum enhancer. With the help of the villagers, he dismantled the contraption and removed the crystal that had caused the illusionary fantasies. The village returned to its quaint charm, its sense of wonder revitalized by the lessons they had learned. Professor Quirk, now humbler and wiser, focused his inventive talents on creations that genuinely enhanced their lives, practical gadgets that improved daily tasks and fostered connections rather than isolating them. As the years passed, the villagers cherished the memory of their shared adventure. The Quirkomatic quantum enhancer became a symbol of the dangers of losing oneself in personal fantasies, and the power of genuine connections to ground them in reality. And Eliza, the young skeptic turned heroine, continued to approach life with her analytical mind and open heart. She had learned that the true magic of existence lay not in fantastical illusions, but in the beauty of shared experiences, empathy, and the ever-expanding horizons of genuine human connection.